Caitlin Clark getting poked in the eye and shoved triggers brawl. Caitlin Clark has a target on her back, or so it seems. The WNBA star took the brunt end of what turned out to be a very chippy game Tuesday night between the Connecticut Sun and Indiana Fever at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Things got tense in the second quarter when Sun guard Jaycee Sheldon got into a verbal spat with Clark, prompting Clark to shove her. No harm, no foul. Literally. Then things got tense. Late in the third quarter, Clark and Sheldon got into it again as the former Iowa star dribbled up the court. Sheldon stayed close, prompting the guards to initiate contact. Sheldon appeared to reach for the ball, but instead poked Clark in the eye. Clark fumed and shoved Sheldon. Things went south from there as Sun guard Marina Mabrey beelined it towards Clark and shoved her to the ground. Whistles blew all over the place as refs tried to prevent a fracas. And even the announcers deduced Mabrey's shove would get ejected from the game. Sheldon ultimately got hit with a flagrant 1 foul for poking Clark in the eye, while Clark was issued a technical for the shove. Mabrey also got a technical foul for her actions. But the full-on brawl didn't unfold until the waning minute of the game, after the Fever's Sophie Cunningham fouled Sheldon so hard during a breakaway layup. A brawl ensued behind the backboard. The brawl at one point even spilled near fans sitting behind the basket, who had to get up to avoid it. While that melee didn't directly involve Clark, the tension had been building from the start and throughout the game, prompting the announcers to blame officials for letting it get out of hand. In the end, Cunningham was automatically ejected after getting hit with a flagrant 2 foul, while Sheldon and teammate Lindsey Allen were ejected for fighting. The Fever went on to beat the Sun, 88-71, for a spot in the Commissioner's Cup championship game. Indiana will face the Minnesota Lynx in that game on July 1. Caitlin Clark's 2-minute stretch versus Sun prompts broadcasters warning to every little girl watching. Caitlin Clark makes hitting shots from the midcourt logo look so effortless that these days, even 10-year-olds are chucking basketballs in their driveways like they've got ESPN cameras rolling. One 9-year-old point guard named Moira was asked what she loved most about Caitlin's game. She didn't blink. She shoots threes. Moira New York Post, like it was the most obvious answer in the world. So while we talk about the revenue Clark pulls into the league while economists debate the rise of Clarkonomics, let's also talk about the Clarkquake among the young girls. Clark has really redefined women's basketball, injected hope into it, and it's here to stay. But there's a reminder as well for these young minds. As Michael Jordan, the Jumpman himself, once warned that the three-point revolution might just be getting a little too trigger-happy. MJ, who made a living off mid-range daggers and fadeaways, wasn't exactly sprinting to the arc. To him, the game was art. It was a combination of footwork, shot creation, post-ups, and locking someone down on defense until they questioned their life choices. He doesn't hate the three, but he sure doesn't trust a world where it becomes the thing. In the Jordan gospel, balance is everything. That same perspective echoes in the current conversation around Caitlin Clark, especially after her performances post-injury. While much of the spotlight on her centers around her deep shooting range, her game has never been defined by that alone. Clark has always been an all-around point guard, and she demonstrated that versatility against the Connecticut Sun. As broadcasters praised her shooting touch, she made a perfectly timed bounce pass through traffic to Damiris Dantas for an easy layup. It was a play rooted in vision, anticipation, and feel, qualities that transcend any one shooting stat. The broadcasters quickly shifted the narrative, urging fans to not just admire the long-range bombs but to learn from the subtle brilliance of moments like these. Commentator Debbie Antonelli said every little girl in their driveway is launching triples. I'm just gonna say, make sure you learn the fundamentals too. Don't just be firing away from downtown. So, Caitlin Clark can score with ease, but that's just one part of what makes her special. She's a sharp passer who reads the game really well, almost like she knows what's coming next. She hustles on defense, has precise ball handling, helps set screens, and grabs rebounds too. It's the kind of well-rounded play that coaches can show young players as an example of doing all the little things right. And honestly, they have been doing that. As Tony Darden said, it's a good model to show all the other girls coming up, like, hey, you don't have to just shoot 30 times a game. You have to learn to do other things, because when you get to that next level, everybody else is going to be able to score just as good as you. How are you going to stand out? She's Clark taken it to a different level. Just because Caitlin Clark can drain shots from the logo doesn't mean it's a green light for everyone else. She's put in years of hard work, building up her strength and perfecting her form to make those deep threes look effortless. That's why coaches like Darden have their young players start close to the hoop and move outward, making sure they build solid form before dreaming of long-range bombs. That's the gap between being a good shooter and a great shooter, Darden said. So with time, these kids have actually been understanding what Debbie demanded. As Sue Phillips told AP News last year, I don't know if we have data to back that up, but I can tell you we do have more kids willing to work on their skill set to build on that. I do see that there's more motivation based on what they're seeing on social media and TV, that there's a lot more opportunities to see games being played. It's great. Yet, the thrill around the range is not going anywhere. Basketball, like any sport, is ultimately rooted in joy. At its core, it is about expression, connection, and the freedom to create. While wins and losses often dominate headlines and influence decision-making through statistics, efficiency ratings, and other measurable data, the true essence of the game lies in the experience it offers. It is about emotion, excitement, a sense of community, and above all, happiness. This is why the way Steph Curry and Caitlin Clark play resonates so deeply with most. Clark and Curry remind us of what basketball is truly meant to be, a game that brings joy, whether you are playing it or simply watching. Their styles are fluid and fearless. They step into shots from improbable distances and make it feel natural and easy. But their impact goes beyond entertainment. They do not dominate with size or brute strength but with vision, skill, and creativity. They win by reading the game, reacting with instinct, and executing with precision. These are qualities that young players can relate to and work toward. As Pat Boylan said in the game, Steph Curry talked about before Caitlin Clark, and now Caitlin Clark has added this to the mix. They are unbelievable shooters from 30 to 35 feet. But they're so great in part because they've mastered the fun of it.